we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to.
Astronauts to the moon.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation.
Astronauts to the moon.
Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
What's up, everybody? You take a look at the beginning of this video, and it was just under 2 minutes long. And the bottom line is this. This is from the Bible, the King James Version. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. What's the firmament? Look it up. Do some research. I'm going to get to the Wikipedia page in a second here. But this thing with the plasma pause, the guy who discovered it, it actually got his doctorate under James Van Allen, who discovered the Van Allen belts supposedly in 1958. And this guy is calling it a Star Trek-like invisible shield found thousands of miles above Earth. And I'll show you a little bit about what this thing looks like, but there's a ton of articles out there. If you go to NASA, you're not going to get the whole story. We're kind of talking about a bulletproof shield around the Earth. And I don't want to get into what the Earth really looks like right now, but if you believe any of the images that you're shown from NASA, you might want to go back and do a little bit of research on that, because they can't produce one actual image of the Earth. They're all CGI. They say they need to be that way, and I can't believe that with all the technology we have, we can't have one real high-def picture of the planet. And part of the reason could be because they can't get high enough, because they can't get past this shield. And let's say hypothetically for 1 minute, it's not the firmament from the Bible. Let's just say that it's not like a force field that would literally block a laser beam or an alien craft or a rocket coming up from Earth trying to get through it to get out into quote-unquote space, whatever that actually may be. So let's say that it's not a bulletproof magical shield that God made, and let's just say that it blocks electrons. Well, based on what NASA has already said recently, you saw that video about a minute ago, you can't, if you were to go past the Van Allen radiation belts, 36,000 miles out there, it sounds like you would cook. That's pretty much what they're saying. You would cook. They don't have the technology to block the radiation. And whether or not you want to believe that's the official story, I think there's a whole lot more going on there. I mean, look at the astronauts that are supposedly on the space station, and then they have a live feed that's not really a live feed, and then you see bubbles come up like they're in the demo pool at the Space Center. What is it? I don't know. The Johnson Space Center? I don't even remember where it is. But there's so much of this information out there, you can't put it all into one video. Bottom line is, this is just craziness. If it is the firmament, what if it is the firmament? I mean, it's a magical shield that God made. It's a dome, and it's basically protecting the Earth. The revelation of that, if that's really what it is, would be so crazy, because not only would it give you proof of God, but it would also give you proof of your divinity and the fact that you may be in the center of this universe or multiverse or multi-dimensional existence. And you know, I don't believe these guys like Elon Musk and these other billionaires. I don't know if I want to go on that tangent, but anyway, they say we're living in a matrix and it's a computer simulation. I think that's a bunch of bullshit to get you to take the chip, put the chip in your brain, don't use your debit card anymore, don't use your phone anymore, link you up to some big hive mind situation, 1984, and basically, I mean, give me a break with all the hacking that's been going on recently. You don't think the little chip in your brain could get hacked? So I'm going to tell you what, most people are going to go for it because they're keeping up with the Kardashians and they're buying $120 white t-shirts from Kanye West and watching football and not really understanding that there's a whole lot more going on than meets the eye. So I don't know how long I want to make this video because I feel like I could talk about this stuff for a long time, but here's what's really important about the beginning part of this when we talked about Psalm 19.1, and let me just repeat it for you one more time. The heavens declare the glory of God and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Psalm 19.1. So who founded NASA and was responsible for engineering all these rockets in the very beginning? Who was brought over here from Germany with 1,500 other scientists, Nazi scientists, right? And this is Wikipedia. You can't make this stuff up. I'm so sick and tired of the word or the term conspiracy theory. How about this? You're a truth seeker who looks shit up on the internet and you can deduce from reasonable sources that a lot of the stuff you've been told is bullshit, okay? So we apparently brought over 1,500 Nazi scientists immediately after World War II in Project Paperclip. Wikipedia calls it Operation Paperclip. And this guy, Werner von Braun, was the top Nazi scientist and was the head of NASA and was responsible for all of the first rockets that we tested in the various programs, including Apollo, right? So I think when Kennedy was gone, Lyndon B. Johnson took over after Kennedy was assassinated, and coincidentally, then we went to the moon. I wonder if Kennedy knew something that he was going to tell people about. Anyway, this guy dies in 1977, and what is on his tombstone or headstone, whatever you want to call this thing, tombstone? Psalm 19.1. So you go back into the early 60s when our government was trying to nuke the sky, right? What was it? Project Starfish Prime, or I mean, there's so many of these out there. You can Wikipedia all this stuff. It's declassified. It's not tinfoil hat wearing nut job stuff. This is real stuff. So we're trying to nuke the sky in the early 60s. This is before Apollo. And this is also after Van Allen discovered the radiation belts. So the question is, are they really radiation belts or is it the firmament? Because if they discovered a firmament up there, of course, because they're fucking brilliant, they're going to try to nuke it, right? So number one, how do we know that that didn't happen? We don't. We don't know what these guys are really up to. We don't know anything they're really up to. You can't believe anything the government tells you. Listen to George Carlin. He knew what he was talking about. So, at the end of the day, von Braun dies, and here's Psalm 19:1 on his tombstone, talking about the firmament. So, my theory, my humble theory, with the thousands of hours of reading and research and sifting through all of the silly bullshit and all of the fucking jokers and all of the gatekeepers and all of the nonsense, the bottom line is this. You need to get to a point where you trust your gut about this. I believe 110% that this guy knew about the firmament. I believe we tried to nuke it in the early 60s. And I believe that there's no way to get through it. And so you do your research from there. If you're still with me, I'd love to hear your feedback. And I'm going to go ahead and try to arrange all this stuff so it's somewhat of an entertaining video. God bless, and we will talk to you next time. Peace.
Astronauts to the moon.